Hey, and welcome to the Pursuit of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Wienanda van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, spaghetti and ice cream lover, travel junk, and a cat mom. I love conversations that are on a more raw and deeper level. And today I have with me Lauren. Lauren is a social media and business mindset coach. She helps female entrepreneurs grow their business and become their own boss. But before her success, she struggled with her mental health for 14 years. She dealt with OCD, depression, stuttering, and more, but managed to fight back within a year, and now she's happier and stronger than ever. Let's find out how she did that. Lauren, to the pursuit of healthiness today. Can you tell a little bit about yourself and what we are going to talk about today? Because you are, I would say, an expert in this because you are diagnosed, have all the things, OCD, and yeah, I just leave it up to you.
I'm Lauren Diaz. I'm a business mindset coach. Used to be a hairdresser, flipped and changed my career. I just love like a lot of little like artsy crafty kind of things. I don't really know what else to say about myself, but yeah, so I am here to sort of like talk about what it's like to have like severe dyslexia, what it's like to have like OCD and ADD, like as someone who is like sort of grown up with all of these things, not really knowing that I've had all of these things, and how I have sort of like overcome each and every one of these things, just despite like people thinking that I'm stupid or like just weird in general, or like I don't know, I can't remember the word, like I can't like understand things the same way as other people can. I just come across like really like strange.
A little bit
But
weird.
yeah, just a little bit quirky and a little bit weird, but it's fine. But no, so how I've gone from A to B and just completely changed my career to being my own boss and running my own business, helping other people create their own businesses.
Oh, that's amazing. But how did you do that? Like, why did you decided that that's what you wanted?
So how why I decided that I wanted to help other
Yeah.
people, like okay. So it just kind of came out of nowhere. I wanted to leave the hairdressing career. I was so sick and tired of working in salons because I've worked in a few salons and they're somehow all the same. They're all just like really toxic places where everyone like just doesn't like me whatsoever because like I'm the skinny girl that's relatively attractive, that's just overly nice, and just says exactly what I say. I am brutally honest. I mean, no one asks for my opinion unless they want
Yeah.
my actual opinion. So yeah, but no one likes that, as
No,
I've
that's
learned in
true.
the fashion industry. um, so no, like I just decided I just want to do something completely different, and I trained myself to do something more digitally. I wanted to just work by myself in a way, but help other people, because one thing I loved doing was helping clients. I liked making them look pretty, but that just didn't feel like enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do more, but I just didn't know what. So just continuously trained myself for over a year. And then I kind of realized like, oh, I had started a business, I had got these clients. And one thing that I really liked doing was that whole journey. And I actually really wanted to help people on how to sort of do all of that. Like I didn't really know what my brand was. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then I just kind of figured, you know what, I really like this one thing, just starting like people off. And that's like the hardest thing in business because
Yeah.
a lot of people will start a business, but they can't get it started.
Yeah, I know
or
what you mean. Yeah.
or they don't have the actual like tools and things, like they don't really understand what it takes to really start a business. They just think, oh, if I have a logo and if I just have like an idea, then I can get started, when it is just so much more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you have OCD and dyslexia. How does that impact your life?
It's it impacts it on a daily and continuous basis. And the thing is, a lot of the times I don't notice it because I have lived with it for so long. So it is very difficult to know, am I just struggling because I'm just being silly, or am I struggling because it's something that, I was born with? Um, like, and sometimes it's just kind of hard to like differentiate. Is this a normal problem, or is this like dyslexia or OCD ADD problem? So even like right now, as I told you like before, I had to write a whole entire list of OCD because it really like I really get confused which one's what and what's normal, what's not normal. So it's a
Yeah.
bit all over the place, basically.
Yeah, but it's understandable. I mean, you've lived for it for, well, a long time or your whole life. So to you, it's normal. But once you talk to other people, you notice that that is not normal. Or that I don't like the frame normal these days, because I mean, what is normal? And it shows you that if people not fit in that category of normal, they are abnormal. And I'm like, that's also not the case. Like, but can you tell what you are diagnosed with, and what it is exactly?
So one thing that I'm specifically diagnosed for severe dyslexia and ADD. And then the OCD, I've yet to actually get the diagnosis, but it runs in my family, and it 100% I do have it. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a hypochondriac thing. 100% I do have it. My father has it, my mom has it, like, and they've been diagnosed and things like that. So, and I have the exact same like symptoms, or sometimes worse, or sometimes like not as bad. It does really depend on like, I feel like stress levels, more so. But I am looking to literally find someone who can just quickly diagnose me for it, just so like I don't know, I have it like certified, I suppose you could just sort of say, like, oh, I can prove it to you now. So, but yeah, it is something that I do sort of have.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you have it. It's just not officially.
Just not official, which I find really
Yeah.
funny that you have to get things made official, like just to prove to people that you have it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. In a way, I understand it, especially medical wise, like if something happens, and but it's again putting people in a box, and I
Mm,
don't like that.
yeah, and that's like another reason why I also haven't wanted to get certain things sort of like diagnosed. Like in the past, I had like mental health problems. I didn't want to be diagnosed with like the depression I had, the anxiety I had, the low self-esteem I had, and whatever things I had, because I didn't want to be labeled. But at the same time, as soon as I knew, I realized like, oh, you know what, this actually helped, because it opened more doors for me to get more help from that.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time coming, but it's got to get done eventually.
Yeah. So what is the difference between ADD, OCD? Can you tell a little bit about that?
So I mean, so ADD is like ADHD, so which is a hyperactive sort of version of it. ADD is like, you have like all the same things, but you're just not hyperactive, and I am definitely not that. I mean, I'm so chilled that people wonder what I'm taking. Like, not nothing. um, yeah, it's so the ADD part of it, especially I remember being in school, and all of the teachers would come up to my mom afterwards saying, I think she has ADD because she cannot concentrate in classes while at the same time knowing what's going on and not knowing what's going on. I also can't, I mean, I have to talk with my hands at the same time because I fidget a lot. I
Yeah.
can't just do nothing. I physically can't do nothing. I have to always do something. So, for example, when I was like training myself to do all these like great things to be able to get here, and I'm listening to all these podcasts and listening to all these like courses and master classes, I literally have to do something to be able to listen to them. So I'll be washing dishes, I'll be cooking, I'll be showering, I'll be like taking a bath, but even then I'm still doing nothing. So I'm like splashing the water or something. I don't know what,
Yeah.
just something just to like fiddle about with, because I physically have to do something. Um, but it's mostly like down to concentration, and not being able to focus quite a lot, because you just get distracted easily.
Mm.
With OCD, there's like a lot of different kind of like symptoms that sort of like go along with it. And it's like, for example, it's like excessive hand washing. It could just be like, I can't remember what it's called. It's like negative thinking and then neutralizing that negative thinking. So for example, I get like um these little like voices in my head that say, you have to do this one really super weird and random thing, otherwise someone's going to come into your house and kill you tonight. And so to neutralize it, I have to do that really random thing, which could be like for like 10
Yeah.
seconds. Or one thing I used to do a lot was I would get like a cup, and every time I put the cup down, I have to tap it twice
Yeah.
before I can put it down. And if I don't, someone's like gonna come up behind me and punch me or something.
Yeah. So how does it yeah, maybe it's a weird question, like how does it feel? But like do you, is it always the same or is it different every time?
Which one?
For example, the cup, when you want to put it
Oh,
down, that you have to take it twice.
I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like um so I would say that they're all kind of in a series in a way. So um I really don't know how to describe it well enough, because sometimes like I will sort of like have the same thing. Like, I'll have like two things going on at one time, or just like one thing. But I call them like little series of random things that I do, because
Yeah.
um like it's like kind of like thinking like, oh, it's like a series in like a Netflix sort of like thing.
For example, you do
Like,
that for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and then it is something else.
yeah, or like it'll be like 1 year or a few months.
Yeah.
It's a bit longer. So it's more like a weird obsession um that would just continue over these one or two things that I'll do. Like I used to do the cup tap thing, while also having to breathe in whenever I look at something white or light or shiny, or and then breathe out whenever I look at something like that's really like dark and black, or just the darkest thing that I have in the room. And I will have to do that 10 times. And if I still don't feel like I don't know, I've released whatever is like going on, I have to do it another 10 times. And if I still don't feel good, I have to do it another 10 times. And I exhaust myself from going.
Yeah. Wow, that's
um,
difficult.
so it goes through like a series, and then it just kind of dies down a little bit eventually until it just kind of stops. And then something else will sort of like hop in its place. It's very rare. It would come back again, like 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 part two of the series, like a few years later.
Yeah.
Um, so that's about the best I can sort of like describe like what it is. But it's normally like the same thing that will sort of go about for like this several months. It could be a year, could be a couple of years, and then like it would just sort of die down and then replace it with something else.
Yeah. So when did it start? It, because you said that you weren't diagnosed until years later. So what was the first sign that you've noticed, like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me? To say there's nothing wrong with you, but I mean, you have it for over 14 years, right?
uh no,
Or no, the, or at least like the mental health problems.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the 14 years span was when I was being like severely bullied, and also the severe mental health problems that I had. But the so I got diagnosed after 14 years of having that. Always like knowing that something was wrong. And then I kind of forgot something was wrong because I was like told by people, oh no, you're just sad, oh no, you're just weak, or something like that. And then I was just like, oh wait, no, I experienced these same symptoms as these other people, so I need to get this checked out. When I'm like 21, 22. But in regards to like dyslexia and ADD, so the dyslexia, definitely, I was diagnosed when I was 8, I think. I was very, very young. But my parents couldn't really figure out what was wrong with me. They kind of thought maybe it was dyslexia because my handwriting was terrible. My speech was awful because I had this nickname Yoda because I used to flip my sentences back to front. So you couldn't actually understand what I was talking about unless you had known me long enough. And I used to stutter. I used to like not pronounce words properly. So basically you wouldn't really like understand anything that I was saying. And then I couldn't read properly. I couldn't understand what people were telling me, even if they were talking very, very basic English. Even like to this day, if people were trying to give me like, I don't know, like something to do, like, oh, can you do this for me? I'm like, what are you saying to me? And even to this day I still can't read very well, and I do go through fits and starts where sometimes I get so severely stressed I can't read anything, even if it's one word on a piece of paper, I can't read it.
So what do you see, or how does your brain go when that happens? I'm just really curious, and I try to understand what it is like to be you, like how you see life, how you see words, I mean, for me, it's really easy. Like I have my notepad in front of me. I have words and sentences. Like it's, to me, it's really easy to read. So I'm just really curious, what is your reality?
In regards to dyslexia, for example, a lot of people say the words jump about on the page. And even as I was growing up, and even still to this day, when my mom tries to describe my dyslexia, she always, to other people, she always says, oh, it's just where the words jump about on the page so she can't read it. No, that's actually not what it is. How even like right now I've got a little list next to me, like just to remind myself of all these like things that I do. What it looks like is dots, so like Morse code basically. That's what it looks like to me. I can't read Morse code, bear in mind. So if someone sends me a chunk of a paragraph, it just looks like dots on a page. That's not an eyesight problem, because if I look closely I can see each individual letter perfectly fine, but looking at it, it just looks like dots on the page. And so to this day, if someone does send me a paragraph, I can't read it properly. I will stare at it because it just looks like nonsense to me. It just looks like a block of dots, and that's what it looks like. And I physically can't program my brain to start on the left hand corner and read from left to right. And so that does boggle my brain quite a lot. So if things are like spread out, it's easier for me to sort of differentiate that they are words and letters rather than just dots on the page. But on the times where I do get so severely stressed that I cannot physically read for shit, everything looks like a bloody dot on a page.
Oh wow. I think I can understand it a little bit, because I do have an eyesight problem from far away. So when I have something from far away, then it just looks like I don't know.
Yeah.
I see that there is something, but I have no clue what it says. So I think in that sense, I can understand a little bit what you see, but yeah, it's wow. So how did you, I would say, go through life if you cannot read? Well, you can read, that's not what I mean, but if you really have to focus on that, and it's like it's a task, it's a chore, I would say, right, to read for you. So
Well,
how did you survive? Like, you have to read when you are in school and everything. Like, it's in our everyday life, like in your business, you're helping businesses, or you help people to start their own business. So how do you do
so
it?
I was lucky to have some decent teachers, like not all of them, but I had some decent teachers in school, who like they knew that there were a lot of dyslexics in the class, some worse than others. So they would print off work on colored paper, but more specific colors, or they will paint the room certain colors like green. Green is like one of the better sort of like colors to like sort of read from for some reason for dyslexics. It just makes it easier. For me personally, I found purple or like a creamy yellow, not like a bright yellow, because that just messes up my eyes. But one thing I have found is I can't read red writing at all. I can't read it. Um, and I was in class with someone who couldn't read blue writing.
Okay,
um,
wow.
so there are certain colors that really mess us up. And then there are some other colors that actually really, really help us read things. So for example, I would have like things printed on like a green piece of paper or like a cream piece of paper, or I would have like these like little clear purple rulers or something that I would just kind of like to sort of like transcribe or read or something.
Yeah,
um I looked weird when I did it, but it made it
I mean,
so
if it
much
helps
easier
you.
to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do need to get sort of like colored lenses for dyslexics at some point, because that would really help my business now, because I get so many headaches every day, really, really concentrating, trying to read these articles, trying to read these like documents that I have to rewrite or I have to send off, or even when I write my own books, it's so difficult to read it. Or I would just completely change the screen pink or something. Pink
Yeah.
and purple I find the easiest to read. um yeah. So that's how I kind of got through, but most of the time it is just a lot of focusing and headaches and a lot of like swearing in my brain if I can't read something. So yeah, it does take things like a lot longer than it probably should.
Yeah.
So
So how did you manage to go through your teenage years? Because I know teenagers are the worst. Like, they will bully you for everything. Um, so how was that experience for you?
I mean, I was bullied since I was 8 to about 21.
Wow.
So 21, 22. And yeah, I mean, I would say that they did just bully me for like anything. I can't remember on how it just sort of started. I had like this one girl who just really didn't like me, so she turned me against all of my other friends, and that just was a repeated pattern for like most of my life.
Mm.
Um, so, but a lot of it might like was down to not like me being able to like understand people, like what they're trying to tell me. Like a lot of the times I'll be in like the little girls groups, sleepovers and stuff, and like they'll be talking about something and I ain't got a clue. I can't physically understand or mentally understand what they're saying. And then I just looked like the oddball, and I looked silly, and I looked stupid, and then I was thrown out of those groups because I couldn't physically understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was just a case of like sometimes I would just like come across a bit peculiar, like with like the little things of like my OCD, like washing my hands excessively, for example, which you would think like isn't something that people would like care about, but like when you like touch like certain things, like if I open up a bin with my hands, I have to immediately wash my hands or something like that, you know, or if I
Well,
touch someone's dog.
in this day and age, I mean, with COVID, it doesn't matter. Like everybody's doing it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird how people look at other people. I find if you do something different than all the other people, you are weird and you get bullied for it and you need special treatment and everything. But as long as enough people do it, it becomes normal. And I understand that it works like that, but in a way it's ridiculous. Like you got bullied or find that people thought that you were weird because you were excessively washing your hands. And now everybody's telling you to wash your hands like crazy. So it's so weird how that perspective is of people. I think I don't know, it's unfair, I would say. I mean, it's not like you're a different kind of human or you are an alien or something. I mean, for example, my sister has ADD, I think, as well. This English term for it. And I'm like, she's amazing. It's just that if you just teach her differently, then she would just understand everything. But because we are so used to teaching one certain way for the general public, I would say, a lot of other kids, a lot of other adults are just not going through life like the others would because we adapt ourselves to one way of teaching or one way of doing things. And it's such a shame because there's so much potential. And I think people who have ADD or dyslexia or anything else that is considered not normal, I think those people work even harder because you do have to work harder to be on the same level as the other person, as the other people. And I think that is even more worth in a way, if you understand what I mean. Because you are working harder, you deserve it more.
Thank you. I
Truly,
mean,
like,
yeah, it is difficult when you have to work a lot harder than other people, but people don't view it that way because they do view you as someone who is literally stupid. Like
yeah,
for someone with dyslexia and ADD, which in all fairness, those two things do often coincide with each other anyway, but it's also something that's very inherited in my family.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, for example, I in GCSEs, I was like one of the very few people who would be given extra time on my tests to actually finish it, and I still wouldn't finish it because not only am I struggling to read the questions, am I struggling to understand the questions, am I struggling to, you know, think of all the things that I learned in class that I didn't understand. And couldn't understand because I had teachers who didn't know how to teach dyslexic people, or let alone with the ADD, I was constantly getting distracted. I was getting distracted in the middle of a test, thinking of other things, and completely forgetting I was taking a test, or I'll be in classes and not actually physically listening to the class because I'm too busy thinking of other things because my brain can't like focus
yeah,
like in everyday life. If something like doesn't excite me, it's like, okay, I'm thinking of other things now.
yeah.
So
Do you
I
think? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I just come across like I'm uneducated when I'm not. I just can't focus. I can't read. I can't understand.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that, like you said, that you're stupid. I mean, intelligence is measurable in many, many ways. What you often see as well is, for example, people who have a really high IQ with autism. So they can look socially awkward and weird, but they are really, really smart with other things. And I believe you have so many different kinds of smart. Like someone could be really, really good with people, but has no clue, for example, math. Like financial stuff is just not something for them. And I think that that's okay. I don't think we should have one measurement stick in that way. If you know what I mean. It's, I don't know, like, no. Like there are different ways to measure someone's intelligence. And even then, it doesn't define your worth as a person. I mean, I've talked to you a couple of times and we're talking via Messenger, and you are awesome. You are
Oh,
an
thank
amazing
you.
person. So I'm like, it doesn't matter what you have, what you're diagnosed for, what you don't have, what is difficult for you to do. Like you as a person, you are awesome and you are amazing and you are doing amazing things, because I've seen you've also had an article in a magazine, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and you are helping people start their own business. You are helping them to create their freedom, and you help them achieve their goals. And I mean that's amazing. So why does it even care that you have that? Obviously, it makes things a lot more difficult for you, but what I'm trying to say, as a human being, what does it really matter in the end? I mean, like I said, you are amazing. You are awesome. You are a beautiful soul. You are. I'm really happy that I got to connect with you.
Thank you. I'm really happy that I got to like talk in this podcast. Like it's been like a really nice journey actually sharing my story and listening to your views and opinions as well. You're
Yeah.
so nice.
Thank you. I do have a couple of other questions before we round it up. Would you say that it makes it more difficult to be happy because you know you are considered different, or you have to work harder for things? Or would you say it is interfering with your life and trying to be happy in life?
Well, I mean, if you asked me this question a couple of years ago, I would say yes, because I could not figure out how to, be considered as, like a usual person that gets along with people and, that people love. Because, I am very outspoken, I am very honest, and at the same time, I do have all these quirks that drive people crazy. Like even with the ADD, I can't like most of the time if I'm talking to someone, um, at least at one point in a conversation, I my brain has wandered off and I forgot we were talking in a conversation, and then they will say something to me, and I'm like,
What what did you say?
um, sorry, can you repeat the last several sentences that you just said?
Can you repeat the
um,
10 minutes, please? I was zoning
yes.
out.
So I mean, it's great if someone like talks like so much, and they never have anything interesting to say, which is so mean to say, but it is true. That's the only benefit, but otherwise, it's been like a real downfall. So, but as of like the last over a year now, where it took me such a quick, I don't know how to describe it. Oh God, it took such a long time to get to um the point where I figured out how to be happy and how to like I don't know finally wake up to the world, because I had been depressed for so long, because I had severe anxiety, because I had all of these other problems like dyslexia, ADD, OCD and whatnot. I had everything.
Yeah.
um when I finally figured out how to overcome it, it literally felt like I woke up to the world. Like, you know, when you first wake up to the world when you're like a kid, it's like I had a second rebirth. And my brain is so much more clearer. I can comprehend things a lot better. I feel like I can actually think.
Nice.
So I'm a lot happier now, despite, you know, me having all of these things. Because sure, they can get kind of annoying during the day, and like the OCD side of things, like the neutralizing thinking, they don't bother me anymore. Like as soon, like sometimes I'll like hear it, I'll be like, oh, you need to do this one really crazy thing, otherwise I'm gonna kill you right now. And I'm like, oh, shut up. I can actually tell it to shut up now because my brain is like so much like happier. Um, and yeah, I mean, obviously there's like a whole bunch of other things like with OCD, like the hand washing and um, like I hoard stuff when I'm stressed. That is a terrible thing. I hoard stuff when I'm stressed, which I didn't realize was an OCD thing. And then there are times where when I'm not stressed, I organize things. So I'm like, I will have like these massive rubbish bags, and I would just literally like shove them with all the stuff that I don't use anymore that I've hoarded, and I chuck them out.
Well, it's a good that's the other side as well, because so many people are hoarding and then they live in a house with, I don't know how much bullshit they don't need because they cannot throw it away. And you are like, okay, this is one phase, and the other phase you're throwing everything out.
But I would hoard really weird stuff. I would hoard empty makeup bowls,
Oh,
or like
really?
empty like skincare like stuff, or like shoes that I will one day wear that I haven't worn in the last 10 years and I probably don't fit it anymore.
That's funny.
Um, or just like really random stuff in general that like little things that I would just like collect, and then I have nowhere to put them and I'd have no use for them and I don't actually want them, but I keep them because they're somehow comforting in a weird way. But then as soon as like I'm not stressed anymore, like the other side of the OCD kicks in. I'm like, no, I don't want to be in this mess anymore. I have to get out. I have to like throw away everything.
Yeah. So how did you manage to deal with it? Because you said that you woke up like a second birth, and you just woke up to a normal world. There again, I use the word normal, but how did you do that? How did you manage to fight back with depression, anxiety, your OCD, ADD?
The hilarious thing is it was actually because of a bully from like a salon I was working in. It's just this really random old lady with the craziest personality. But she would pick on one or two people at a time, and she kept telling me like I'm stupid, I'm weak and not confident and things like that. And she kept reminding me that I wasn't confident. Bear in mind, she was like doing other things. Like she was like really severely like undermining me all the time and constantly making comments at me or making really crazy accusations. And I was like, like she reported me because I didn't say excuse me and her name, rather than because I just said, oh, excuse me, but I didn't say excuse me her name. So she reported me because I didn't say her name.
Oh,
So I'm still really sorry about that. But no,
like a
she
little
said,
Karen.
yeah, she was a little Karen. um, or I didn't or someone gave me a tip, I wasn't thankful enough. So apparently me going, oh, thank you wasn't enough. I have to go, thank you so much for this £5 for a tip. I am so thankful. Oh, yes, client, thank you so much.
Begging on your knees and
Yeah, I beg on
worshiping.
my knees,
Yeah.
thank you for this £5 of the tip,
Yeah.
No, sorry, I'm like sidetracking. I do get really salty sometimes. No, so she talked about confidence. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'm gonna listen to her this time. I'm like, because I normally ignore, people who think it's okay to pick on me. And I thought, this one time I've been bullied for 14 years straight now. It's time to, make a difference and listen to this one thing that she keeps saying, which is picking on me for, but maybe it's a weird form of advice. So I started listening to confidence, hypnosis sort of like stuff, which also included like life success and whatnot. And I would listen to them every night for 6 months. And the funny thing about hypnosis is that it sort of rewires your subconscious to look out for things that that are related to the things that you've been listening to. And like this form of hypnosis, like it's actually just like ways to help you fall asleep or get into a trance. And then it basically just repeats affirmations like, you are confident, you are bright, you are great, you are beautiful, you can do it, you're amazing, basically stuff like that. So it's like really harmless. And like saying like you're successful, you live your dream, stuff like that. And obviously I didn't know what on earth I actually wanted to do. I just knew that I was really tired of hairdressing.
Yeah.
But your subconscious every single day picks up these little things that you would normally miss. So it's like picking up things out from the corner of your eye, and you're like, "Ooh, that'll help." And it's like collecting these little things day by day, like seeing things come up on your social media that you're like, "Oh, I would have turned this down about 3 months ago, but now this is a really cool thing that I need." Or you'll just come across things that you'll never come across before that are going to help you in your life. And that's just kind of how my whole entire life changed, because I started listening to hypnosis videos I found on YouTube.
YouTube is great.
YouTube is great.
It has a lot of bullshit, but it also has a lot of great informative videos.
Yeah, it can be really, really helpful, and that I'm very thankful for.
Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, how has your life changed in that way? Like obviously in a positive manner, but how drastically? Like, do you still feel depressed, or do you still feel anxiety?
So, I don't have depression or anxiety anymore. Like, sure, I might have like moments where I'm like sad, but it doesn't compare, because for 14 years I have a lot of amnesia, because I was dissociating quite heavily for a lot of the times. In fact, I completely don't remember a lot of the things that happened in school, apart from certain things. And it wasn't until I was like talking to someone, and they were like, "Oh, you used to do this really weird thing where you would sit on your own on this area reading a book constantly." And I'm like, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember being on my own a lot of the times, and I was always on my own. And even like throughout adulthood until like I turned 22, I don't remember a lot of it. I was dissociating really heavily, and what that feels like when it can get really bad is when you look back at it, your memories always feel like you're in a dark cloud, and you yourself feel like you're kind of walking in a tunnel, and there's like this little bit of light where you can kind of see what's going on around you, but at the same time you don't really know what's going on, because everything's just kind of hazy and everything's just, I don't know, a bit all over the place, and you can't control your emotions. Like I couldn't physically control my emotions. I would have outbursts because I would bottle everything up to the point where I would shout at the completely wrong people. I used to shout at my teachers. I used to shout at like my bosses. I used to just go haywire if I got way too stressed. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And I would even like yell at my own friends, not in an abusive way or anything. I would just like act really crazy because everything I would say wouldn't make any sense. I'll be like, oh my God, I'll be absolutely out of my mind. Like I would literally come across as absolutely crazy, like I was on drugs or something, because I would just be so emotional. And because I was also dissociating, because like I didn't know what was going on in everyday life, and because I couldn't really understand, and I had so much going on, like
you just didn't know how to deal with it. You have so much feelings cropped up that you don't know what to do with it except for acting out.
yeah, I would just act out and nothing makes sense. Like I would just blurt out gibberish. I would accuse things of like things that just never actually happened, but only happened in my brain, like because I'm like stressing out over like random things, or just going through so much like depression and shit. Like people were like bullying me constantly, or like just not being overly happy and whatnot. And it was just like constant, like I don't know, like I'm being like put in a pressure or something, and like I just explode into absolute randomness. And looking back, I can definitely feel how unstable I was emotionally. And even to this day, I could ask my own friends, and they would say, "Lauren, you used to be so emotionally unstable. It's not even funny." um,
But
but
they're
looking
still
back,
your
it's funny.
friends.
Yeah, they're still my
Yeah.
friends.
Oh,
Some
then it wasn't too bad then.
like
They love
my
you.
poor, I have a poor friend, like, oh god, like bless my friend Tyler. Oh my lord, he so I had an emotional outburst in him because I was so stressed. And I went out, um what was it, I went out shopping with him to try and find my partner a birthday present or something. And there was this perfect like aftershave, because my partner is obsessed with aftershaves. Like right now I'm staring at 40 different niche aftershaves that he's bought.
Oh my God.
And I thought, I'm not
That's a
even
lot.
joking, I think they probably retail for over 4 grand or something. It's a lot.
Oh.
But so I found like this perfect aftershave. And then um my friend actually ended up buying the other one from the same brand, and I got really weird about it. And I started having an emotional outburst, like, no, that's just weird. You're just like being weird, and I don't like it. And he was just like, I'm confused.
Oh.
And I was confused. I didn't know why I was having an emotional outburst at like nothing. Um, he's still my friend. I don't know how.
Well, then it's a good friend. I mean, if they stick with you through all of that, then friends for life.
But yeah, so in comparison, my life has definitely changed because I don't have emotional outbursts anymore. I don't have depression. I don't have anxiety. I love myself now, so I don't have low like low self-esteem. I don't look in the mirror anymore thinking I look anorexic, like I look ugly, like I look disgusting, like wondering what's wrong with me. Why is my partner still with me? Why do I still have friends?
Yeah.
um, and yeah, so that's completely changed on how I view myself. And everything seems brighter. Now I can remember things a lot more clearer than before.
It's
um
amazing.
and yeah, I'm not as stressed as I used to be, so that makes things a lot easier in general. I'm a lot happier now.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, I love when people are happy, or at least making progress in their lives towards a happier life. So what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from all of this?
The biggest lesson is, I mean, first of all, hypnosis really works.
Yeah.
The other is, it doesn't matter what you are going through, you can always make your life better somehow.
Yeah, I love that. And it is absolutely true. And I believe we have the power and the choice to do so. It's just taking action on it.
Exactly.
So the last thing, if people really want to know more about OCD, ADD, or anything mental health related, or they want to work with you, if they want to start their own business, then how can they contact you? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm always there to sort of like help anyone who needs it. But if anyone needs like my personal help, I do have my website where you can sort of read up about me, or contact me there. So it's tailoredbeautysecrets.com. Or it's easier to contact me through either Facebook, which is just my name, Lauren Diath, which is D apostrophe capital ATH, or my Instagram, which I do respond to most of the time.
Good.
um is the_beauty_strategist. And yeah, so if people want to work with me, I'm just more than happy for them to just message me, and I'll just get back to them as soon as possible and see how I can help them.
Okay, awesome. I'll leave everything in the description so people can contact you. And yeah, I just really want to thank you for giving this insight and showing how you managed to go through all of that, but still are where you are today. I think that's amazing. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you understand how it feels like or how it is to have a mental health issue. If you have any questions, please contact us. We are happy to answer all of your questions. Nothing is too crazy. Nothing is bad. I prefer you to ask questions instead of staying in the dark. So click the link in the description and we are here to help you. And otherwise, thanks again and see you next time.